The one you married isn't random. They are the soul your karma could not ignore. Not every marriage is about love. Some are debts. Some are lessons you cannot escape. Not everyone who touches your heart is meant to stay, and not everyone who stays truly belongs there. And when two lives decide to walk together in marriage, it is never just by chance. It is the silent weaving of karma. Buddha once taught, nothing exists without a cause, and nothing arises without conditions. Marriage, too, is not simply a union of two people. It is the unfolding of seeds planted long before this lifetime. Sometimes it is born from love, yes, but sometimes it comes from debt that must be repaid, or a lesson waiting to be learned, or even a mirror reflecting back what we refuse to face within ourselves. Think about it. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant pull as if you've known them forever? You couldn't explain it, but your heart insisted. Was that really love, or was it recognition? Recognition of a story unfinished, a promise broken, or a wound yet to heal. In Zen, we say marriage is not simply about finding comfort in another person. It is about meeting the soul who triggers your deepest work. The partner who may challenge you, frustrate you, and sometimes even hurt you, but in doing so, forces you to awaken. Like a sculptor carving stone, marriage shapes us not by soft touches alone, but often by chisels that hurt before they reveal beauty. Imagine two mirrors facing each other. The clearer one mirror becomes, the more purely the other can reflect. In the same way, the more we heal within, the more peaceful our marriage becomes. Without this awareness, the relationship feels heavy, even suffocating. But with it, marriage becomes a path to liberation. So perhaps the question is not, why did I marry this person? But rather, what part of my soul recognized theirs? When we see marriage this way, we stop asking, why me? And start asking, what am I meant to learn here? And in that shift from blame to awareness, we discover the true freedom hidden inside the bonds of karma. We will now step into the first part of today's video, the hidden karma of marriage. So often we imagine marriage as a safe harbor, a place of comfort, companionship, and peace. Yet life keeps reminding us that marriage is rarely just about comfort. Have you noticed how some couples seem completely mismatched? Their personalities clash, their habits collide, even their friends whisper, "Why those two?" And yet they remain bound together, sometimes for a lifetime. From the outside, it may look like a mistake, but from a karmic perspective, it is precise. The one you marry is not just chosen by affection or attraction. They are chosen by your soul's unfinished story. They are not a mirror to flatter you, but a mirror to reveal what you have not yet healed. Zen philosophy teaches us that marriage is not meant to complete you, it is meant to awaken you. And awakening is rarely comfortable. A true partner is not only the one who shares your laughter, but also the one who stirs your anger, your fear, your insecurity, because only then can you face them. Think of a sculptor working on stone. The chisel strikes hard, sometimes painfully, but each strike reveals a hidden shape. In the same way, marriage often feels sharp, difficult, even wounding. But through those very strikes, the deeper beauty of your soul is revealed. Have you ever found yourself triggered by your partner's words or actions, feeling anger rise or old wounds open? That moment is not simply their fault. It is karma showing you where you are still raw. Without marriage, perhaps those wounds would have remained hidden. With marriage, they are exposed, and therefore, they can be healed. This is why your spouse is not just your companion, they are your karmic teacher. Every misunderstanding becomes an invitation to patience. Every conflict becomes a lesson in compassion. Every disappointment becomes an opportunity to forgive. Not only them, but also yourself. Imagine two mirrors facing each other. If one mirror is smudged, the reflection will be distorted. But as one becomes clear, the other reflects more purely. So too with marriage. The more healing you bring to your own heart, the more peace flows into the relationship. Without this awareness, marriage can feel like a cage, heavy, suffocating, impossible to bear. But with awareness, marriage becomes a doorway to liberation. The key is not to smash the mirror, but to polish the reflection inside you. So the next time you wonder, why am I with this person? Why do they hurt me in this way? Remember, it may not be punishment at all. It may be karma's precise way of sending you the teacher you most need. The mirror of karma in marriage shows us not only who we marry, but also when we meet them. And that brings us to the next part of today's journey, love that arrives too early, when hearts meet at the wrong time. There are moments in life when two souls recognize each other instantly. The connection is real, the love undeniable, the bond magnetic. Friends see it, family feels it, and within your own chest, you know it's not ordinary affection. It is something deeper. And yet, despite the beauty of that recognition, the relationship begins to fracture. Love is present, but peace is absent. Why does this happen? Because karma decides not only who comes into your life, but also when. Two people can be right for each other in essence, yet not ready for each other in evolution. Imagine planting a seed in winter. The seed is alive, but the soil is not yet ready. The result is struggle, not growth. In marriage, this often shows up as couples who truly care for each other, but find themselves fighting constantly. Every small difference becomes a battle. Every attempt at closeness turns into misunderstanding. What could have been a sanctuary becomes a battlefield, not because love was false, but because timing was misaligned. Zen wisdom teaches that life unfolds according to ripeness. A fruit picked too early is sour, and a fruit left too long becomes spoiled. Relationships follow the same law. You may meet someone who feels like home, but if one heart is still entangled in ego, fear, or unhealed wounds, the love will suffer under the weight of immaturity. Think about the times when love felt so true yet so exhausting. You may have told yourself, if we love each other, isn't that enough? But love alone cannot carry the weight of unconsciousness. Without presence, love turns into attachment. Without maturity, passion becomes chaos. There is a story of a man who once asked a Zen master, "We love each other deeply, but we fight every day. Should I leave?" The master replied, "Your souls met too early. She is still becoming the person who can understand you, and you are still shedding the person who cannot accept her. Love brought you together, but timing tears you apart." This teaching is both painful and liberating. Painful because it tells us that love is not always enough. Liberating because it reveals that suffering does not mean failure. It means readiness has not yet arrived. So what do we do when love comes at the wrong time? The first step is awareness. Instead of clinging desperately to force the relationship into harmony, we learn to see the truth. Timing is also part of karma. Sometimes the most compassionate act is to let space do its work. From the Buddhist view, this doesn't mean the connection was meaningless. Every encounter has purpose. A love that arrives too soon may still awaken growth. It may push us to heal faster, to become more conscious, to prepare for deeper love in the future. In this way, no love is wasted. Each plays its role in shaping who we become. So the next time you find yourself asking, "Why does this feel so right but hurt so much?" Remember, love may be true, but if the timing is wrong, karma is teaching you patience, presence, and the wisdom to wait until both hearts are ready to walk together in peace. The truth about love and timing teaches us that even the right connection can feel painful if it comes too early. But once we accept this, a deeper question emerges. What is marriage truly for? And with that, we now move into the next part of today's journey, the higher purpose of marriage. Marriage, at its core, is not simply about companionship, comfort, or shared responsibilities. It is a spiritual mirror. Your partner is not only someone who holds your hand, but someone who holds up a reflection of your deepest wounds and your hidden shadows. What you see in them often reveals what you have not healed within yourself. Think of it this way. When your partner criticizes you, and it hurts deeply, ask yourself, did that pain exist long before their words? Often the wound was already there, buried and waiting. Marriage only uncovers it. This is why the Buddhist view sees marriage less as a contract of convenience and more as a sacred opportunity for awakening. A Zen story captures this truth beautifully. A candle once asked the wind, "Will you love me even if you blow me out?" And the wind replied, "Yes, because only in darkness will you know the strength of your own flame." Marriage works the same way. Your partner is not here to keep you safe from every storm. They are here so that through the storm, you can discover how strong your own light really is. When we misunderstand this, we cling. We expect our spouse to complete us, to carry our burdens, to soothe every ache. But clinging only creates suffering. The higher purpose of marriage is not to make you dependent, but to make you conscious. Not to fill your emptiness, but to show you that you were whole all along. Imagine a mountain climber. If someone carried them to the top, they would never know their own strength. But if the climb tests them, their spirit expands. Marriage is this climb. Your partner may walk beside you, but the purpose is not for them to carry you. It is for you both to grow stronger through the ascent. This doesn't mean marriage must always be heavy or painful. There is beauty, joy, and tenderness. But even those moments serve the same goal: awakening. Through laughter or through tears, every experience with your partner is a chance to deepen awareness. Zen reminds us that nothing is permanent. Even relationships are impermanent forms. But what you gain within them, patience, compassion, wisdom, those remain eternal. And that is why marriage, when lived consciously, becomes a vehicle for enlightenment. So perhaps the higher purpose of marriage is this: not to escape loneliness, not to guarantee happiness, but to awaken the soul. Your partner is not simply the person you live with. They are the person who, knowingly or unknowingly, helps you discover who you truly are. The higher purpose of marriage shows us that relationships are not only about comfort, but about awakening. Yet there is another layer to this story, one that reaches beyond this lifetime. And with that, we now move into the next part of today's journey: promises, betrayals, and the echo of past karma. In the cycle of karma, nothing ever disappears unfinished. A promise made but broken, a bond formed but abandoned. These do not simply vanish with time. They follow the soul like shadows waiting for the moment to return. This is why, in marriage, we often feel connections that are strangely intense, deeper than explanation, as if written long before we were born. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the one who abandons another in one life may, in a future life, experience the pain of being abandoned themselves. This is not punishment, but restoration. Karma seeks balance, not revenge. So when we suffer heartbreak that feels unbearable, it may be the soul's way of completing an old story. Think of the times you've loved so deeply that the pain of loss felt almost unbearable. Why did the bond feel so strong, even if it ended in betrayal? Often, it is because the love carried not just joy, but also guilt seeking redemption. A soul that once broke another's heart may find itself drawn irresistibly to that person again, not out of free choice, but out of karmic recognition. In this way, many marriages are not new beginnings but continuations. A husband who betrays his wife may, in another life, be the one betrayed. A wife who once left her partner without explanation may, in another life, feel the sting of abandonment. Through this exchange, karma restores balance to broken vows. Zen reminds us, life is not linear, but circular. The emotions we leave unresolved, the promises we leave unkept, return to us until we learn. Marriage, therefore, often becomes the stage where old vows reappear, not as punishment, but as a chance to fulfill them. Imagine a contract left unsigned in a past life. It doesn't disappear, it waits for your return. In the same way, a marriage in this life may be the soul's attempt to finally complete what was left undone. The attraction we feel is not always toward beauty or joy. It is often toward the echo of unfinished business. So when you ask yourself, why does this love feel so heavy, so complicated, so painful, yet impossible to leave? Consider that it may not be about this life at all. It may be the weight of a vow made long ago, now resurfacing for resolution. The lesson, then, is not to see betrayal or abandonment as meaningless cruelty, but as karma's way of weaving justice across lifetimes. When you recognize this, your suffering shifts into understanding. The wound becomes not just pain, but a path toward balance. The echoes of past promises and betrayals remind us that marriage often continues stories from long ago. Yet karma reveals itself in another powerful way, through the pull we call attraction. And with this, we now move into the next part of today's journey, the hidden lessons behind attraction. Attraction feels mysterious. One glance, one encounter, and suddenly the heart insists, this is the one. Logic may resist, friends may warn, but the pull remains irresistible. Many call it love, but from a Buddhist lens, attraction is not always love. It is often recognition. Recognition of a soul you have met before, a bond left unfinished, or even a debt that must be repaid. Think of the woman who feels drawn to a man who constantly causes her pain. Her friends cannot understand. They tell her, "He is no good for you. Why don't you leave?" She tries, but she cannot. Her heart pulls her back again and again. To her, it feels like fate. But in truth, it is karma, an old account resurfacing. This is the nature of karmic attraction. It does not arise because someone will make you happy, but because they will awaken what is still unhealed within you. The suffering that follows is not punishment. It is a teacher. It is life saying, "Here lies your lesson. Face it now." From the outside, it looks cruel. Why would the universe draw us towards someone who wounds us? But Zen reminds us, the purpose of life is awakening, not comfort. The ones who trigger your deepest pain are often the ones who mirror your deepest shadows. And until you face those shadows, they will return in different faces over and over. This is why some people say, "Why do I always attract the wrong person?" The truth is, you are not attracting the wrong person. You are attracting the lesson your soul still needs. Until you learn it, the same pattern repeats, no matter the name or the face. But here lies the hope. Once the lesson is learned, the attraction dissolves. The pull weakens, the cycle ends, and the soul becomes free. At that point, attraction no longer comes from unfinished business, but from clarity, presence, and conscious choice. So how do we work with karmic attraction? First, by awareness. When you feel drawn to someone, ask yourself, is this attraction born from love or from a wound seeking resolution? Second, by courage. Dare to face the pain instead of running from it. And third, by compassion. Recognize that even the person who hurts you is playing a role in your awakening. In this way, karmic attraction becomes a sacred teacher. It shows us that love is not always meant to comfort us, but to wake us up. Every tear, every ache, every disappointment carries a hidden wisdom. And when we finally see that, even suffering transforms into grace. So the next time you feel pulled towards someone in a way you cannot explain, pause and ask, is this love, or is this karma calling me back to finish what I once left undone? The hidden lessons behind attraction show us that what pulls us is not always love, but often karma calling us back to what is unfinished. Yet the most powerful mirror of karma is not found in attraction alone. It is found within the marriage itself. And with this, we now move into the next part of today's journey, marriage as the reflection of the self. Your partner is not just a companion sharing your days. They are a mirror reflecting your inner world. Every doubt, every insecurity, every hidden belief you carry within will sooner or later be revealed through the way you see and experience your spouse. Think of this. A woman once said, "He always makes me feel like I'm not enough." A Zen teacher asked her, "But did you already believe you weren't enough before he said a word?" She paused and then nodded. The teacher whispered, "Then he is not the cause. He is the mirror." This is the nature of karmic marriage. The pain we feel in the relationship is often not created by the other person, but uncovered by them. If you carry the wound of unworthiness, your partner will reflect it back. If you carry fear of abandonment, you will see it in their distance. If you carry anger, you will find it rising in every conflict. The mirror is merciless, but also truthful. It is easy to blame the mirror. We shout at it, hoping it will change its reflection. But the mirror only gives back what is already there. To change the reflection, we must cleanse what lies inside. In other words, the work of marriage is not to fix the partner, but to heal the self. Zen wisdom says, when the mind is still, the world reflects clearly. Marriage proves this. The calmer, more conscious, and more healed you are, the gentler your reflection will appear through your spouse. But when your mind is clouded with fear, doubt, and wounds, your partner becomes the stage where those shadows are magnified. This is why marriage feels so intense. It is not simply a relationship between two people. It is an encounter with yourself. Every smile, every wound, every misunderstanding is an invitation to see more clearly into your own heart. Imagine standing before a lake. If the water is stormy, the reflection is broken. If the water is calm, the reflection is true. Your partner is like that lake. The calmer you become, the clearer they reflect back your love. So when you find yourself saying, "My spouse makes me miserable," pause and ask, "What inside me is being revealed right now?" This shift in perspective turns conflict into a teacher and pain into a mirror of healing. Marriage as reflection is not meant to condemn you, but to awaken you. By seeing yourself more clearly, you are given the chance to transform. And when you do, the marriage itself changes, not because the mirror changed, but because the one looking into it did. In this way, marriage becomes one of the most profound spiritual tools life can give. It shows us who we truly are, and if we are willing, it shows us who we can become. The mirror of marriage shows us who we are, and through reflection, it teaches us to heal. But reflection is not the end of the journey. There comes a time when the lesson itself is complete, and the bond no longer serves growth. And with this, we now move into the next part of today's journey. When karma is complete, the freedom of letting go. Not every marriage is meant to last a lifetime. Some are meant only for a season, for the duration of a lesson, for the balance of a debt. Yet in society, we often measure the value of a marriage by its length. We think that longevity equals success and endings equal failure. But from a Buddhist view, this is not true. The true measure of marriage is not how long it lasts, but how deeply it awakens. Imagine a woman who stays in her marriage even though every day feels like silent suffering. She tells herself, "This is loyalty, this is duty, this is love." But inside, she is dying a little more each day. A Zen teacher might tell her, "That is not loyalty. That is attachment wearing the mask of loyalty." The lesson of that marriage may already be complete, but clinging keeps her bound in unnecessary pain. This is the paradox of karmic unions. They are sacred, but not always permanent. Once the karma has run its course, staying beyond that point does not create growth. It creates stagnation. Like a flower kept in a vase too long, the beauty fades, the water grows stale. To hold on is not noble. It is to resist the natural flow of impermanence. Buddhism teaches that letting go is not failure, it is freedom. The courage to release a bond once its lesson is done is the courage to honor impermanence as truth. What ends is not wasted, it has already served its purpose. What remains is wisdom, clarity, and gratitude. Consider this. When karma is complete, the relationship itself may dissolve, but the growth it gave you remains forever. The patience you learned, the compassion you practiced, the forgiveness you discovered. These become eternal treasures of the soul. The person may leave, but the awakening stays. Letting go, then, is not rejection, it is recognition. It is the soul bowing to the truth that the path with this person has reached its natural close. To cling would only create more suffering. To release is to allow both souls to continue their journeys with lightness. So when you find yourself at the edge of a marriage that feels lifeless, ask, is this bond still teaching me, or has the lesson been learned? If the answer is that the lesson is complete, then walking away is not betrayal. It is an act of wisdom and love. In the end, marriages that end are not failed marriages. They are completed ones. The karma is fulfilled, the soul is freer, and the heart, though tender, carries the strength of transformation. And that too is sacred. The ending of a marriage does not always mean failure. Sometimes when the karma is complete, letting go is freedom. But not all marriages are born from pain, debt, or broken vows. Some emerge from a different source, a bond of gratitude carried across lifetimes. And with this, we now move into the next part of today's journey. Marriage born from gratitude and positive karma. In Buddhist teachings, karma is not only about suffering or repayment of mistakes. It also includes the echoes of kindness, generosity, and compassion. Just as a broken promise can return as a heavy bond, an act of profound kindness can return as a sacred union. Sometimes we marry not because of love at first sight, but because of an invisible gratitude our soul cannot ignore. Imagine this. In one life, someone shelters you in your darkest hour, saves you from despair, or gives you unconditional support. That act plants a karmic seed. In another life, your soul recognizes them, not through passion, but through reverence. You feel drawn to them, perhaps not with fire, but with quiet devotion. Marriage in this case is not about filling an emptiness. It is about honoring a debt of love. This kind of marriage may look unusual from the outside. People may ask, "Why did you choose this person?" And you may not be able to explain. But inside your heart knows, I owe them something far greater than words. It is not a burden, but a sense of sacred responsibility, a recognition that your soul has been touched by theirs before. The beauty of gratitude-based marriages is that they are often steady and calm. They may lack the drama of passion or the turbulence of karmic debts, but they carry a gentle strength. They are founded on respect, appreciation, and quiet loyalty. Still, even gratitude has its karmic cycle. Once the debt has been honored, once gratitude has been fully lived through kindness, patience, and respect, the soul is free to move forward. Holding on out of obligation beyond this point becomes attachment. But releasing the bond with love and appreciation allows both souls to continue their journeys lighter and freer. Zen wisdom reminds us that even positive karma is still karma. It binds us until it is fulfilled. The key is not to cling to the form, but to honor the essence. Gratitude fulfilled becomes freedom. Gratitude left unexpressed becomes another chain. So when you find yourself in a marriage that feels less like passion and more like reverence, ask, is this love or is this gratitude? If it is gratitude, live it consciously, express it fully, treat every day as an offering of thanks. And when that offering is complete, the bond will naturally release, not in pain, but in peace. In this way, marriage born from gratitude is a reminder that not all unions are burdens. Some are blessings. Some are the flowering of seeds of kindness sown long ago. And when lived with awareness, such marriages become not just bonds of the past, but gifts of liberation for the future. Marriage born from gratitude shows us that not all unions are burdens. Some are blessings carried from the seeds of kindness in past lives. Yet there is an even rarer form of marriage, one that goes beyond debt or even gratitude. And with this, we now move into the next part of today's journey. Marriage as dharma, a path of spiritual service. Most marriages revolve around personal needs, companionship, attraction, comfort, or lessons of healing. But there are couples whose union carries a higher calling. They come together not simply to complete one another, but to serve something greater than themselves. Their marriage becomes not just a personal bond, but a dharma partnership, a vehicle of spiritual purpose. This kind of marriage is rare because it is not born of clinging or unfinished karma, but of conscious alignment. Two souls equally aware meet and recognize that their bond is not only for personal happiness, but for collective good. They may build a family, create a community, or dedicate their energy to service, teaching, or healing. Whatever form it takes, their marriage radiates beyond their own lives. Unlike karmic marriages, which often carry drama and turbulence, dharma marriages are steady, calm, and enduring. They may lack the fiery highs and lows of passion, but they possess a deeper fire, the quiet flame of shared purpose. Together, they walk not only as lovers or companions, but as co-travelers on the path of awakening. Zen wisdom says, when two lamps join, the light doubles. In dharma marriage, this is true in the highest sense. Each partner's inner practice strengthens the other. Their compassion multiplies, their awareness deepens, and together they create a space where others may also awaken. Their relationship is not just for themselves, but a sanctuary for those around them. Think of teachers, healers, or spiritual practitioners who live and work side by side. Their partnership often feels less like romance and more like a quiet force that uplifts everyone they touch. There may be fewer arguments, not because they are perfect, but because they share the same compass, pointing towards service and truth. In these marriages, love is not about possession, but about expansion. The joy is not only in what they give each other, but in what they can give together. And in that giving, they find a joy greater than any passion could offer. From the Buddhist view, such unions are precious because they turn personal love into universal love. They remind us that marriage, at its highest form, is not the end of the path, but a continuation of practice. It is dharma lived together, a constant opportunity to embody compassion, patience, and wisdom in every shared step. So when you meet couples whose bond seems unusually calm yet powerful, know that you may be witnessing a dharma marriage. Rare, steady, and luminous, it is less about two people completing each other and more about two souls serving the world side by side. And in that service, they reveal that love, when rooted in dharma, becomes not just personal, but transformative for all. The dharma marriages show us the rare beauty of unions built on shared purpose and service. But most of us do not yet walk on that elevated path. For many, the lessons of karma keep returning again and again until they are learned. And with this, we now move into the next part of today's journey, when karma repeats, the cycle of unfinished lessons. One of the most striking truths in Buddhist teaching is this: life repeats itself until awareness breaks the pattern. This is especially visible in relationships. Have you noticed how some people, even after ending one painful marriage, find themselves in another that feels almost the same? Different face, different name, but the same wounds appear. The same arguments resurface, the same loneliness, the same heartbreak. From the outside, it may look like bad luck or poor choices. But from a karmic view, it is not about luck, it is about lessons. Karma is not cruel, it is persistent. Until the soul awakens, the same themes reappear. You may run from one relationship to another, hoping for change. But the deeper truth is, it is not a new partner that brings freedom. It is a new consciousness. Imagine a student who skips the lesson. No matter how many times they move to a new class, the same subject follows them until they finally learn. Marriage works in the same way. The wrong partners are not punishments. They are teachers showing us the chapters we have not mastered yet. This is why someone might say, "Why do I always end up with people who betray me?" The Buddhist answer is, because you still carry the wound of betrayal within yourself. Until you heal it, the universe will bring you mirrors that reflect it. Or another person might say, "Why do I always attract those who ignore me?" The truth is, the neglect you feel outside is echoing from the neglect you show yourself inside. The cycle breaks only when awareness enters. Instead of blaming the partner, we begin to ask, what part of me keeps calling this experience back? What lesson is karma asking me to learn? This shift of perspective transforms suffering into practice. Suddenly, the pain is not just pain, it is a curriculum of the soul. Zen wisdom says, the external is a reflection of the internal. The world you experience in marriage is a projection of your own state of being. When you feel unworthy, you attract partners who confirm it. When you learn your worth, you naturally attract those who honor it. When you release fear, you draw in freedom. This is not magic, but the simple law of resonance. So if you find yourself trapped in repeating patterns, do not despair. The repetition is not proof of failure, but proof of karma's determination to teach you. The universe is patient. It will present the same lesson until you finally see it. And the moment you do, everything changes. The partner may remain the same, but the dynamic shifts. Or if the marriage dissolves, the next relationship will no longer carry the same wound. By changing your consciousness, you end the cycle, and karma releases you into new possibilities. In this way, karmic repetition is not a curse. It is a doorway. The soul knocks again and again, saying, "Learn this now so you can walk forward free." The repetition of karmic patterns reminds us that life is patient. It will send the same lessons until we awaken. But even awareness is not the final step. To truly break the cycle, the soul must embrace something even more powerful. And with this, we now move into the next part of today's journey, ending the cycle of karma through forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood practices in human life. Many believe that to forgive is to excuse the other person's actions or to pretend the wound never happened. But from a Buddhist view, forgiveness is not for the other. It is for you. It is the cutting of the chain that binds you to suffering. When we hold on to resentment, anger, or betrayal, we keep the karmic bond alive. Every thought of revenge, every memory replayed, strengthens the thread of attachment. The person who hurt you may have moved on, but within your mind, the chain continues to tighten. Forgiveness is the act of unclenching the fist of the heart. It is saying, "I release this not because they deserve it, but because I deserve peace." Think of a prisoner who clings to the bars of their own cell. The door may already be unlocked, but as long as they hold on, they remain trapped. In the same way, anger and resentment keep us imprisoned long after the event has passed. Forgiveness is the choice to let go of the bars and step into freedom. Zen wisdom reminds us, Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent to throw it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. This is why forgiveness is not weakness, but strength. It requires courage to drop the coal, to stop carrying the weight of another's actions on your own shoulders. When forgiveness happens, karma dissolves. The cycle breaks. The soul no longer needs to repeat the same painful lesson because the energy has been released. In this way, forgiveness is not just emotional, it is karmic liberation. It transforms suffering into wisdom and sets both souls free. But how do we forgive when the pain feels too deep? The answer lies in perspective. Instead of asking, "Why did they do this to me?" ask, "What has this taught me?" Instead of clinging to the role of victim, step into the role of learner. In this way, the wound becomes a teacher, and forgiveness becomes gratitude for the lesson, however painful it was. This doesn't mean you must reconcile or allow harm again. Forgiveness is not about staying, it is about releasing. It is not about erasing the past, but about no longer being chained to it. So when you feel the weight of anger pressing on your chest, remember, the one who benefits most from forgiveness is you. Through forgiveness, you break the karmic chain. Through forgiveness, you end the repetition. Through forgiveness, you reclaim your freedom. Marriage, in the end, is never just about two people living together. It is a mirror of karma, a reflection of your inner state, and a teacher dressed in human form. Who you marry is not random. It is the echo of past choices, past loves, past wounds, and even past debts of gratitude. Some marriages last a lifetime, others only for a chapter, but every single one carries a message for the soul. The Buddha taught that before peace, there must be lessons. This is why love is not always easy. Some unions come to heal you, some to awaken you, some to challenge you, and some to remind you that letting go can be as sacred as holding on. The real journey of marriage is never outside. It is always inward. If you look back on your own life, perhaps you can see this truth. The moments of joy, the heartbreaks, the arguments, and the reconciliations, all of them were not simply about your partner. They were about you, about your patience, your compassion, your fears, and your strength. Your spouse is not only your companion, they are the mirror in which you discover yourself. And maybe that is the hidden gift. Every relationship, no matter how long or short, becomes a step on the path to awakening. If you can see marriage not as a prison, but as a path, not as a demand, but as a teaching, then even the pain transforms into wisdom. Even the tears become sacred. So here's the invitation for you. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is my marriage or my past relationships trying to teach me? What part of me is being reflected right now? And what lesson must I embrace before peace can truly enter? This is not an easy question, but it is the doorway to freedom. Because once you see the lesson, the suffering loses its grip. You no longer repeat the cycle unconsciously. You step into love with eyes open, and you leave with gratitude when the lesson is complete. And so, as we close this journey together, I want to invite you to share with me. What lesson do you think your relationships have been trying to teach you? Leave your reflection in the comments. I would love to hear your story, because your wisdom may be the mirror for someone else too. If this message touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I promise you, in the next videos, we will continue exploring these timeless teachings of Zen and Buddhism. Teachings that don't just explain life, but transform it. Remember, marriage is not the destination, it is a doorway. Whether you walk through it together or apart, may you walk with awareness, gratitude, and the courage to awaken.